This will be the card that we're going to create together tonight. But before we do that, let me just share a few exciting things coming. The first one is the brand new paper cutter that Stampin' Up! Has been talking about. It's available this month in October to demonstrators. So if you want it now, join my team. And it'll be available to customers November 1, okay? This is a last minute thought tonight. I hadn't planned to share this, and then I was gathering my supplies, and I thought I'd mention a couple of quick tips with it. And then I'll go into more detail next week, okay? So let's plan on that for next week. But one of the really just quick things that I noticed. First of all, this is the older scoring blade, okay? And you see that little tiny point that did all the scoring on our older Stampin' Up! Trimmer? Look at the new blade. It's a wheel, okay? So the difference in scoring is going to be amazing. We're gonna have nice, crisp, deep scoring lines, okay? This is the new blade, that little wheel, and this was the old one, which was kind of smooth, okay? And then the other thing I noticed right off the bat were the cutting blades. Now, this right here is the old cutting blade. And you can see that little teeny point for cutting. See that? Now look at the new blade. Look how that stands out compared to the older one. So our cutting is going to be a lot better for our cardstock, okay? So those were just two quick things that I noticed right away. And the other thing that I will point out is, remember we used to have a lock and we would lock the arm in place so that it wouldn't swing? Well, down here on the new paper cutter, this piece right here, just lift up and it opens. And when you close it, it locks on its own. And then you just pick it up here again, okay? And there's a little groove here where you put in your scoring and your cutting blade, and I'm going to see if I can just pop those in. I've never tried this before. All right, so you pop it in about there. I like to put my scoring blade on top. When this arrives to you, your cutting blade will be on the top, but you can move them around, okay? So that's the scoring and the cutting blade. And then another really neat thing is we have the metric measurements as well as the imperial measurements. Now, we use the imperial measurements, and our other markets, Stampin' Up! Markets, use the metric system. But this is what's nice about it. If you're watching a video or if you've got a supply list with measurements in front of you from another demonstrator, they may give you measurements in the metric system, and that can be really hard for us US customers to grasp. So it's pretty awesome that, that we have this, and it'll be helpful with tutorials and things. So if you are a demonstrator right now and you may not know this, you can pre-order this, and the cost is $25 US. And that's what it's going to be beginning November 1. This will be available November 1 to customers, and it's going to retail for $25 US. So, Lee, you are right. Stampin' Up! Is always improving their products, and they're so awesome. We've got this beautiful swing arm that goes all the way out, and there is a protective covering over this so it doesn't get scratched in shipping, and I haven't pulled my covering off yet. And so the arm locks in place and it goes up to 17 inches. I believe our old cutter went to 15 inches if I'm not mistaken. So next week, ladies, I'm gonna go into more detail with you about the paper cutter. It does have the nice feet on the bottom so it's not sliding when you're cutting. And the other thing I noticed is how slim it is. It makes it great for packing. Our other trimmer, which I loved, was wider, okay? But this is going to be a lot easier for packing, all right? So does anyone have any questions? I'll definitely make a list of pros for this Stampin' Trimmer, and I'll have that information for you next week, okay? So that's the first piece of news. I'm going to grab a sip of water here. And the second piece of news is going to be a sneak peek, okay? There's going to be a Christmas suite coming out. This is a box, okay? That's what you're looking at. And I'll show you what's in the box in just a minute. There's a new stamp set coming out, and it's called Christmas Rose. And this is an outlined piece, and it's, oh, I don't have it in here because I've been playing around with it. It's photopolymer, and then this is the red rubber cling mount, okay? No, this one's photopolymer. This one's the red rubber cling mount, okay? So it's called Christmas Rose. It's two pieces that come together. It does have dies that you can cut out some of these images. So we will definitely go into much greater detail as we get closer to November 1. But I thought it would be fun to look at the new stuff. It's going to have 10 yards of this gold ribbon. Let's see what they call this, shimmer ribbon. Okay. And then it's got coordinating gold glitter enamel dots in various sizes. As you can see, I've been using mine. I'm starting to create projects with it. And it also has coordinating designer paper. Now, are you ready for this? Look at this piece of paper. How gorgeous is this? And then this is what the back looks like. Okay. And this is the next piece. And ladies, this does have the gold foil in the designer paper. So that's front and back. And here it is again. There's the gold. And then the other side matches the box. So you do have the designer paper that coordinates. And you can also order this Stampin' Up! Bracelet. It's similar to an Alex and Ani. It's not Alex and Ani, but it's similar to it. It has Stampin' Up! On it, and it has the rose, which coordinates with this entire suite. So more details coming. I've already created several projects with it, so you know we'll be using this in our Facebook Lives. And I've made one card, and I'm going to show you now. This is the card that I made. This was so easy. This image right here is a piece of designer paper. And let me go back and I'll show you the designer paper it came from. You see this sheet of designer paper? I was able to use the dies and cut this image out from the designer paper. Then I stamped this, Merry Christmas is in the set. Hi, Amanda. And then I just embellished. So this is a card that I've created. I put some Wink of Stella glitter on that too. So that's one card that I've made with it, but I can't wait to share all the other things I'm creating with it. So if you are a demonstrator right now, you can pre-order this entire bundle. So if you want it now, join my team. And if you're not joining my team, then you'll be able to purchase this bundle during the month of November. Just November, while supplies last, okay? All right, so let me answer some questions. Lee has asked, any word yet on the Big Shot? Lee, they are still working on a die cutting machine. I think it's going well, and we should have some progress on it in the weeks and months ahead, okay? So I don't think it's too much longer, but they're still working on it. Gail, this would be awesome Valentine's paper, and I never ever thought of that. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Thank you, Carol. I'm glad you like the card. And yeah, the bracelet's pretty awesome. So this is coming up November 1, but you're going to see it before November 1, and we'll create something with it, okay? And I've got some other surprises coming up with it. So we're going to be using this bundle a lot. All right, well, it's so nice to have everybody here tonight. I've lost my card. This is what we're creating tonight. And we're using the Gather Together stamp set right here, along with the gathered leaves that come with this set. Now you're going to learn a couple of tips and tricks with the Mercury Glass acetate sheets. These sheets are found on page 33 in the holiday catalog. Now you're going to learn a stamping technique tonight, and you're going to see these leaves and how they have color in them. I'm going to show you how to create this look for your cards, okay? And just by using the Gather Together stamp set and the gathered leaves dies, you'll be able to do that, all right? And I'll give you the colors as well. I'll give you some measurements, but you can get a supply sheet on Friday in my on my blog, okay? Other things we're using tonight, the stitched shapes. I'm using the smallest one in Crumb Cake, all right? And then we're also using layering circles, and this circle happens to be bigger than the stitch. That's too small, so it's not that one. It's going to be this one right here, all right? And that's what I cut that out with, and I'll give you the measurement real quick for this one because I probably won't get back to this. This is about a 2-inch scallop circle, all right? From east to west, okay? All right, so are we ready, ladies? Any questions thus far as the new bundle and the paper trimmer? And if you missed the first part of that with the new paper trimmer and the new bundle coming out, you can watch it on the replay to get all the details, okay? All right, so first of all, let's talk about the magnetic sheets, okay? So let me show you how they come. They are 12 by 12. I know, Gail, I love crumb cake, especially this time of year. It's awesome. Plus, I love to eat crumb cake. So, you know, how can you go wrong, right? Okay, so this is one of the Mercury Glass acetate sheets, and you can see this design here, I hope, okay? So it varies, all right? You see a variation in it. You get 2 of these in the package, 2 of this design. And then you also get this design right here. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you like the card. So with this design right here, you get 2 of these. So it's 2 of this design, 2 of this design. So it's 4 sheets in the package, and they come 12 by 12. Now, if you participated in my paper share, you received 2 of this one and 2 of this one in 6 by 6. Okay, so you do have some of this if you purchased my paper share. All right. So one of the things that you need to know about this is, and I've just cut this down 6 by 6. It looks just like my paper share. I'm using this because it's easier for me to demonstrate with. And the tip that I'm going to show you right now is my Be Creative Tip of the Week that will be out tomorrow on my blog, okay? So there is a protective film on one side of this sheet, okay? And I have a hard time figuring out which side, so don't feel bad if you order this and you're not sure which side has the protective film. But here is the key to getting the protective film off before you craft with it. you'll want to use some Scotch tape. All right. Oh, Carol, I'm so glad you're loving your share box. I loved putting it together with you, for you, and for all the ladies. It's always fun for me. Let me back up. I have a question about the Christmas rose bracelet. It is not real gold, Lee. It is gold in its tone, okay? The tone is gold, but it's not yellow gold, okay? So that is a good question. All right, so now I've taken this piece of Scotch tape, and I'm actually going to lay this on one of the corners, okay? And then I'm going to lift up, and ladies, look what happens. That protective film comes off. Hi, Sonia, welcome. How about that? So that's all you do. Now, let's say that you did the wrong side. So I'll show you what happens, because honestly, I can't tell one side from the other. I don't know where the protective film is. It's hard to see. I'm putting this on the opposite side, and I'm lifting up, and I'm getting nothing. That means the protective film is not on this side, all right? So any questions about that? I just want to make sure that you know that, and now I'm going to show you how to apply it. So we will get ready, and by the way, you've seen it first. Tomorrow it'll be on my blog and Facebook page. This is the Be Creative Tip of the Week, but you get it early, okay? So, all right, so we are going to get started. And remind me at the very end, because I'm going to show you the 2 cards that are part of that tip tomorrow, all right? Lee, how did I figure that out? That's a really good question. I've done a lot of research in the last few days on the mercury glass sheets, and another demonstrator had demonstrated that. And I thought, wow, I didn't even realize that. So now we all know, right? Okay, so to get started, let's go ahead and we'll start with the acetate sheets, and then we'll work on the leaves, okay? So I'm glad you like that, Amy. Okay, so tonight's card, and it may be hard to see. Can you see that there is designer paper behind that? All right, so let me show you this. If I put it on the card base, this is what it would look like. And when I put the paper behind it, this is what it looks like, okay? And you just use these sheets as a cardstock layer. That's basically what it is. So I'm going to bring back in my designer paper, and I'm actually using the card that's already made. I use this kind of crackled look, and tonight I'm going to use more of this speckled look, okay? Hi, Doreen, welcome. All right, so how about some measurements? First of all, this is Cajun Craze cardstock, and it's measuring 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and then I just scored it right down the middle, okay? All right, Margaret, thanks for inviting Doreen. We're happy to have her tonight. Now, measurements for your designer paper and your acetate sheet. And by the way, you don't have to put designer paper behind it, okay? It can stand alone. And to be quite honest, I'm kind of liking the look of this without the designer paper. Let's try this look. I've got this designer paper, and then if I put this over it, I get more of a muted tone. But honestly, ladies, what do you think? With the designer paper or without? I cut designer paper to go under it, but I'm kind of liking it without the designer paper on this particular card. Hi, Mary Jo, welcome. I know, I'm loving these sheets. They're lots of fun. Okay, so I'm going to take a sip of water. You ladies vote. Let me know. Do you want designer paper behind the acetate sheet? Or, thanks, Margaret. Or do you want it plain? I'm kind of liking it plain. I think it's giving it more texture. Okay, and I know it takes a few minutes for you all to respond and for me to see those responses. Oh, good. Mary Jo says without. Mary Jo, I'm with you. Yesterday I liked it, and today I don't think I need it. Isn't that funny how you create a card and one day you're in love with it, and the next day you come back and it's like, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want to try something else. Everybody wants it without. That's awesome. Well, that's exactly what we'll do. And by the way, if you did like the designer paper, this is one of the pieces in the paper share, and it's one of the pieces of Gather, is it called? It might be Come Together designer paper. And that's with the fall suite, the Come Together suite in the back of the holiday book, okay? All right. So let me give you the measurements for this, but you can pick up a supply list this Friday. We've got 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, okay? And if you decide to put designer paper under yours, you can make it the same. You can make it smaller. You could make it larger. So, okay. And so the way I attach this is I use a glue dot. And I just put it right in the corner, and I'm rubbing the sheet against the glue dot, okay? And I'm gonna do it again and one more time. And if the glue dot shows a little bit, no big deal, but I think this will be stronger than snail, and I don't think you wanna use glue, okay? And now we're just going to center this right in the middle, okay? Now with this border on the outer edges, you could always put your card base through the Big Shot with an embossing folder if you wanted some texture on the card base, but I chose not to do that. So ladies, that's basically it. I've seen lots of cards with the acetate sheets, and they're just using them as layers, just like you would cardstock, okay? And they put paper behind them or designer paper or just kind of leave it. And so they're very, very easy to work with, all right? So now we're going to talk about the leaves, and I do want to show you this technique with the coloring in some of these fall leaves, all right? So let's look at the dies. We've got a large maple leaf, and we've got a small maple leaf here, and then 2 other leaves. And to be honest, I'm not even sure what kind of leaf it is. Maybe you ladies can tell me. Is it an oak leaf? I should know that, and I didn't think about it until right now. So, okay. And so the first thing we are going to do is we're going to bring in our large maple leaf stamp. I'm going to move this card base out of the way until later. And we're going to bring in some mint macaron. Gosh, what's the reason for the mercury glass sheets? I think it's just to give your card texture and give it a different focal point and just something interesting to look at on your card base. So it's just something that Stampin' Up! Brought out. It may only be here for the holiday catalog. It may not carry over. I do not have a carryover list yet. It has not been announced and probably won't be until December. And so, we don't know if it's going to be carried over. All right. And so the very first thing you'll want to do is just go ahead and stamp your maple leaf. So we're stamping in mint macaron ink on mint macaron cardstock, okay? And so once that's cut out, which is super easy to do with the Big Shot, it's going to look like this. So I've taken the time to do that for you, okay? So you don't have to watch me crank the Big Shot. All right, now the next item is going to be these, this green leaf right here. I need one of these, and this is a small maple leaf. Now this is what's really cool. We're going to take the maple leaf, and I forgot to bring my tweezers over here, so I won't have tweezers to help us. We're going to take this maple leaf, and we're going to actually lay it in the ink pad. Can you believe that I did that? All right. And then what we're going to do is you want to be sure that you have your magnetic platform right here, okay? All right. And we are going to, and I'm going to bring this out to help me lift this up. Oh, you know what I'm going to use? This is the Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to use that putty knife. Yesterday I used tweezers and I lifted up the leaf and placed it on the cardstock, but I left my tweezers across the room. So instead of me getting up, let's use this putty knife and we'll see how it works. So basically, ladies, that's what you're doing. You're just poking this, rubbing this right into the ink. I am going to lift up on this and I'm going to transfer it to cardstock. Now, if your leaf moves on the cardstock, don't worry about it. It's still going to turn out. And every single leaf that you do like this is going to be different. I don't think you could make two leaves identical on this, okay? And then you're going to add this. That's the second cutting pad. You're going to roll this through the Big Shot. And I actually did bring the Big Shot over, and we're gonna do one leaf together, okay? And here's my Big Shot. I should have put my handle on the other side. And now we're just gonna roll this through. And not only is this going to emboss it, it's going to cut it out. So it does two things. It embosses and it cuts out. And now I'm going to move the Big Shot out of the way, and I can't wait to see what this looks like. All right, and I'll use my putty knife again, and I'm gonna lift up on this. And look, you can see that it's cut it out. All right, so we don't need that anymore. And then this is going to lift out. And what do you think of my leaf? And I'll bring that closer to the camera for you to see. Now this leaf, I made an extra one yesterday, okay? Here's yesterday's leaf. So they're different, and I don't think you could make two identical. So just remember that when you're embossing and cutting out your leaves, there is no wrong way, okay? And think about it in nature. With the leaves beginning to fall now and autumn is coming, there aren't two leaves that are alike. So keep that in mind too, okay? Isn't that fun? All right. So that's the little tip there, and I'm sure that's going to be a Be Creative tip coming up in the next week or so. All right. So we're now going to put this together, and again, let me show you this. We've got two leaves that are in crumb cake, and I took the soft suede ink and of course opened it up, and I put the leaf in the soft suede ink. Okay, so this ink is darker than the crumb cake, but I think you need that to get that texture. So that's how you get your two crumb cake leaves. All right, and then your Cajun Craze leaves, you also have two, and this is, I ended up using, let's see, I used this one, and I used this one. And I don't think I actually used the smaller one, but you could, okay? And while I have the dies right here, do you see these three pumpkins? You can cut out this pumpkin with this die, and then these two pumpkins here, you can cut these out, and look, Stampin' Up! Gave us two. So we could even cut more pumpkins at one time. So that's pretty cool that they did that. So I just want you to know about these dies. And this is a bundle, the stamp set with the Gathered Leaves dies. You can bundle and save 10%, okay? So it's a really nice set to have. All right, so with Cajun Craze, I did use Cajun Craze cardstock. And I inked those leaves and cut them out. And I inked them up in Cajun Craze ink, okay? So with Mint Macaron, it's Mint Macaron cardstock and ink. With Cajun Craze, it's Cajun Craze cardstock and ink. And then with the Crumb Cake cardstock, I went darker with Soft Suede, all right? Now, the words here, may this season bring you smiles and love. We are going to stamp that. So there's the Cajun Craze. And by the way, this verse is, it's in this stamp set. So everything I'm using tonight is from the stamp set, okay? I love this one. So glad to have you in my life. Isn't that awesome? Hi, Sherry. Welcome. It is so nice to have you with us tonight. I did make some big announcements in the beginning, Sherry, about our new Stampin' Trimmer that's coming out November 1 and a new Christmas suite that's coming out November 1. So when I'm done tonight, go back and hit replay and you can hear those announcements. All right. And so you'll stamp that, and this is Early Espresso ink on the Crumb Cake cardstock, okay? So we're now, and then of course you're gonna cut it out with the stitched circle. It's the smallest stitched circle, all right? And the words do fit in there. It can be a little tight, but they do fit in there, okay? All right. So for those just joining us, we are using the Mercury Glass acetate sheets, and we're actually about to put our card together. And on the original card, I do have designer paper behind the sheet. And on this one, we all decided we didn't want designer paper behind it tonight. So you can see the card, the Cajun Craze card base right under this sheet. I zoomed in so we can put our card together. And, oh, you know something I forgot? On the original card, I did pop this up. Sometimes I like to pop up that layer, but on this one, I use glue dots to attach it, okay? So you can go either way. Amy's question, is the Mercury Glass Acetate DSP rather firm? Could you use it with the mini curvy keepsake box dies? That is an awesome question, Amy, and yes, you can. These sheets are sturdy enough that you can cut out a box with them. So this would be perfect for the curvy, that little mini curvy keepsake die. That box is in the holiday book, and yes, you can use that. Any of your dies, you can cut this out with the dies and punches. You can also punch out any of this paper, okay? It's thick, but it will punch out. Hi, Joyce, welcome. I'm so glad you remembered to join us tonight. So great question, and yeah, it's pretty sturdy. If you hear that, it's pretty thick. So yeah, it's gonna do great on a box. Good question. All right, so we're gonna start here, and I've already taken the time. Look at my cute little bead dish that one of my customers gave me. I've already taken the time to cut everything out and get it positioned for us. We're gonna start with this leaf right here, this maple leaf. And I'm actually going to use my snail to adhere it. And I see that you can't even see what I'm doing. I just put snail on the back, okay? And I do want some of that leaf to reach over, extend on the card base. I think that makes it kind of cool looking, all right? And then our next leaf, let's use this one. This is the maple leaf. Another technique for you is to just take your bone folder and go ahead and curl those leaves a little bit, because you know in nature when the leaves are falling, yes, some are curled up. Most of the time they're wrinkled in some fashion, all right? And so with this one, I'm going to use snail again. Again, you can't see what I'm doing there, but it's just snail, okay? And I'm gonna position this one about right here, okay? So now what I'm going to do, let's see, what do I want to do next? I want to be sure that I get my circle here and that my other leaves are going under that scallop circle, okay? And so I think what I'm going to do next, and this is what I did yesterday, I actually applied this and then I started sticking leaves under the circle and putting them in position, okay? But before we do that, and I already have my little dimensionals on it, can you see this linen thread? We're going to add some thread to this, and we want to put that on the back of the early espresso circle, all right? And so instead of linen thread, which comes like this, and I love linen thread, I use it throughout the entire year, we have some Cajun Craze that was part of the ribbon share, and it's also in the holiday catalog as part of a combo pack. And again, I'm very sorry I don't have my holiday catalog over here. I should. So, all right, so what we're going to do is, and usually, and maybe I'll do that, I was getting ahead of myself and adding dimensionals, but I'm going to show you how I put ribbon and thread on the back of a circle. I'm going to add some snail, lots of snail here, okay? And then I'm just going to run that twine across the back, okay? And then I just want to make a little circle. And so that's exactly what I've done here, okay? And I'll make another one, something like that, I think. All right, and I'm gonna see if I like this. All right, I think this will work. Again, I could use the linen thread if I wanted. I decided to go on and give the Cajun Craze a try since it's a new twine for us. And I'm going to add some dimensionals now, and you can even add them on top of the thread, and that will also hold your thread in place. And since I love dimensionals and they're about a penny a piece, I'm gonna use a lot of them, okay? All right, thank you, Doreen. Thank you very much. Doreen, if you live in the area, I teach a lot of classes in Richmond, Virginia. We would love to have you join us. So keep that in mind if you live in the area. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to position this, all right? And I think I'll do it about right there. Now again, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to position the other leaves under the scallop circle, all right? So, and you may prefer to put all of your leaves down first, and if you do, there is nothing wrong with that, okay? All right, so there we go, and now we're gonna add some more leaves. So let's go ahead and add our maple leaf, and now at this point, I'm going to use glue dots to attach them. And I'm gonna zoom in so you can get a closer look at what I'm doing. I put the glue dot right there at the bottom of the stem, and now I'm going to go in here. Okay, sometimes those dimensionals can be in the way, okay, so you might have to watch for that. So there's one of them, and I probably should have curled that some more. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to curl these up a bit and give that a little bit more texture, all right? Yes, it will mail. What a great idea. What a great question, Gail. Yes, it will mail. So you won't have any trouble with mailing. And Doreen, I didn't realize you were from Louisiana. So nice to have you. And I wish you were in Richmond. I wish all of you were in Richmond so you could join class. All right, so another glue dot. And I'm going to tuck it under here. I want that thread to show. All right, so there's my other one. And see how that just kind of layered together, and now I've got my twine right there. So it gives it a really cool look. here is my crumb cake leaf. And I'm going to go ahead and curl this a little bit. This just breaks up the fiber in the cardstock. And it gives it texture, and it just looks more like a leaf when you do that. All right. There we go. And I will stick that one there. And again, you got to watch for those Stampin' Dimensionals because they're under there and they want to stop me from putting the leaves under there. And now we're going to do one more here. Someone's taking home this card tonight. I will have a drawing. All right. And now our last leaf here, and I've put the glue dot there. So y'all will have to tell me, did you like the linen thread or the Cajun Craze Baker's Twine? Which one? All right. So now here we are. I'll zoom out a bit so that you can see both of them. And for fun, we're going to do the inside. So whoever wins this card tonight will get the one with the inside stamped as well. All right, so let's get out the Very Vanilla. And to get your name in the drawing tonight, you want to leave a comment, share this video so that others can see what it is we're doing. All right, and I think I'll do soft suede, okay, for my maple leaf. And I'm going to clean, or let me zoom out so y'all can see what I've got going on here. This is my simple chamois, and I'm going to clean my maple leaf real quick. As you can tell, I have gotten a ton of use out of this maple leaf in the last 2 months. So, all right. So here I'm just going to add some leaves. Oh, and you know what I should do first? I should stamp my greeting, because if my greeting is crooked, I can flip over this paper, okay? All right, so Carol, okay, so Amy likes the Cajun Craze Baker's Twine, so does Doreen and Margaret. And Carol says, I think I like the thread best on this particular card. That's awesome. Thank you for the feedback. Everybody likes the Cajun Craze. That's awesome. And thanks for sharing, Doreen. All right, so 4 words. We have gather together. We have season of thanks. We have this verse, but we did put that on the front of the card. We've got wishing you well and so glad to have you in my life. Now, if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber like me, you may have received this stamp in the August kit. You should have if you ordered the August kit. And this says thankful for friends like you. And I've been using this one. I have quite a few cards I need to be sending to my dad's caregivers. So I plan to make each of them a fall card and write them a note of thanks because they're so caring and loving towards my mom and dad. So that's why I've been using this verse. So let's stamp this and hopefully get it straight. Now remember, I like to stand up and stamp. So I am sitting down and it's hard for me to look right over. Haha, that looks good. It's hard for me to look right over the cardstock to get it centered. So, all right. So we've got the soft suede there, and now we're going to go ahead and add the maple leaf. And it almost looks like I need to add ink to my soft suede ink pad. All right. And I'm going to add one here. I mean, you could do the whole card, ladies. This is up to you, how you want to add. So it's going to be hard for me to leave a little letter on this. So what I'll do is, when I send my cards, I'll show you. I end up putting mine inside, and then I'll put another piece of cardstock up here, and I'll write my letter up here. Okay, so that's kind of how I do that when I fill this up too much. I get a little carried away. We're going to take the mint macaron, and we're going to add some of these little water spots. And the water spots are also in the stamp set right here. So everything we've used tonight has been in this stamp set. And I'm just going to add some water spots. And yes, they can go over the leaves. Not a problem with that. All right. And then we're going to add that to the inside. And don't let me forget, I've got some Christmas cards to show you with these mercury glass sheets as well. All right, so a little bit of snail. I'm going to do it in all four corners. This sheet of paper is measuring 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And how do I know that? I have cut some cardstock in the past 11 years. So this is a standard measurement when you go to add a piece inside the card. All right. Oh, I could do some Cajun craze. I didn't even think about Cajun craze. That's what I should have done, Amy. Amy, I like your idea. It would have been nice. I could have done the verse in Cajun craze and then the leaves in brown, or kept this in soft suede and done this in Cajun. And I could have done the spots in Cajun, and I didn't even think about it. And I could actually add some now if I wanted. All right, but I may have overdone the inside, so I may not. But I'm so glad you like it. So this is the fall card that's going to go to one of you ladies. I will announce the winner once we sign off this evening, and I'll also message you. And if I message you, I may be asking you for your mailing address so I can get it to you. Okay, so 2 more cards, and these are on the blog tomorrow with my Be Creative tip of the week. So this card right here is measuring, it's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. Thank you, Joyce. I'm so glad you like it. This piece of the acetate, let's measure this. And by the way, I will have I'll have a supply list for these 2 cards tomorrow on my blog. But the measurement is 3 1/2 inches, of course, by 3 1/2 because it's square. And I did put a piece of Whisper White behind it, and I just used glue dots. And then, of course, I popped that up. Can you see that? I popped that up. And then I popped the tree. Now, does anybody know where this stamp set is from? It's in the holiday book. It is a bundle, and it does include the pine tree punch. Hi, Margot. Welcome. Carol said you could add some more dots in Cajun craze, but it's pretty as it is. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, I could add some Cajun craze. I think that would look good too. So this set right here, I love this size, Doreen. It's my favorite. Love making square cards because they're quick. Let's see. The stamp set and the coordinating tree punch are called Wrapped in Plaid. Actually, the stamp set is Perfectly Plaid, and it's the Perfectly Plaid bundle. And the punch is called Pine Tree Punch. All right. Thank you. I'm glad you like the Christmas cards. Oh, by the way, this green is shaded spruce. Yes, Carol, you are right. It's Perfectly Plaid. And that's in the holiday book, okay? And Carol, if you can give us the page number, that would be awesome. I think I'm Wrapped in Plaid. Yeah, that's what the suite is called. Okay, and I will give you one more hint. This is inked and shaded spruce. Love the plaid tree, by the way. And I don't know if you can see it. Now you can see it. I used the Wink of Stella glitter brush and gave it a little shine. All right, on this tree. Okay, Margot, that's a great question. Mailing suggestions. On some of my earlier Facebook broadcast, Facebook videos or replays, we created some square envelopes. So you could just slide the card into a square envelope. I did that on a couple of occasions. If I think about it, I will try and send you a link to that video, and then you'll know how to make the square cards, okay? So page 13 for this bundle, okay? Perfectly Plaid, Wrapped in Plaid Suite, page 13. Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Amy. So this card has a real red card base, same stamp set, different tree. And here's the other glass sheet. See the 2 different designs? Now this one I put shaded spruce cardstock under it, but I don't have to. I could just attach it to the card like it is, okay? So tomorrow's Be Creative tip will be on Facebook and it will be on my blog. And if you visit my blog, you'll get the supply list for these 2 cards, okay? And if I have time, I'll look up the link for the square envelopes, and maybe I'll put that on the post as well if I get time. If not, I might have to do a video for those square envelopes. That might be the best thing to do. If you are not currently working with a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator and your creative coach. And my online store is shopwithbecreativestamping.com. And the hostess code for the month of October, and it's kind of hard to see, it's 4MM3H3G4, okay? And by the way, I do appreciate my customers and their online orders, and I do have a Be Rewarded program. So when you spend $35 in Stampin' Up! Product with me, you earn a B. And then I record the date, the order number, and the amount on the back. And I do keep the record for you, okay? So you don't have to keep up with the rewards card. Now, once you've earned 10 Bs, you get $35 in free product, and I redeem those at the end of the month, okay? So $35 in free product. It can be a stamp set, it can be dies, it can be a combination or a bundle of both. But do know that I do reward my customers for shopping with me.